The New York Rangers ended up making 3 trades around this year's NHL trade deadline in 2024. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at those moves, kind of talk about the good and the bad of them, what they cost, and I'll give you all a grade on kind of each of these trades here and whether or not I thought they were actually good and kind of worthwhile trades to actually make, which obviously, yes, the Rangers did not win the Stanley Cup, and they did not add in that kind of, true kind of top-line forward talent like a lot of Rangers fans kind of wanted to see, but they still made some decent kind of depth moves here, and I'm going to grade all these moves here, kind of talk about my thoughts on them. And like I said, yes, the Rangers did not win the Stanley Cup, but they still made their second Eastern Conference Finals appearance in the last 3 seasons. So it's not like this, playoff run was absolutely horrible and they didn't do a whole lot. They still made the Eastern Conference Finals. They ended up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup champion. So it was still a successful season, you could say. Yes, the end goal and the ultimate goal is to win the Stanley Cup, which I definitely want to see my team do in my lifetime. But it was still a good season there. It was still a fun playoff run to watch there. Obviously went down to Game 6 there in the Eastern Conference Finals. Igor Shesterkin was phenomenal. And if you are a New York Rangers fan, definitely hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. I post every single day a video about the New York Rangers, so if you are a Rangers fan, there is no better place to be on YouTube than this channel. Starting off here with one of the trades the Rangers made around the deadline, and that was Chad Ruido from the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Rangers ended up trading a 2027 4th-round pick over to the Pens for, a solid kind of depth defenseman. He ended up coming over to the Rangers here, only ended up playing 5 games in the regular season as well as 0 in the playoffs, so did not have much of an impact on this team. Kind of came here to be that, number 7/number 8 defenseman, be a pretty solid depth guy, maybe a little undersized, they're kind of around like 5'11", but he does bring a pretty physical side to his game there, pretty tough, gritty guy, you could say, has a decent amount of experience in the playoffs there. Obviously did not kind of show that because he's going to play in the playoffs, but still had that experience. Won a Stanley Cup way back with the Penguins as well. So, a decent kind of veteran guy. Is a pretty solid puck mover, decent defensive, like I said, has that kind of physical side to him. And he also did get re-signed by the Rangers as well this offseason not too long ago. Ending up getting brought back on a 1-year deal worth league minimum. So, coming back now to be more likely that number 7 defenseman right behind Zach Jones is not a bad move at all for this Rangers team. He's going to be a pretty solid kind of depth guy. Like I said, has experience in the playoffs there, won a cup, a veteran guy, plays physical, good puck mover, decent defensively. Definitely not a bad move at all for this Rangers team to bring back a guy who does have a bit of familiarity with this Rangers team already. But taking a look now at my grade for this trade, giving up a 4th rounder in 2027 for a guy who played 5 total games, all of them in the regular season there, I would give this a C+. Maybe that's a little harsh there because he is a guy who came in to be that, number 7/8 defenseman. Obviously, it's not really his fault that he didn't get a chance there, but that's kind of why I give it a C+ there. He didn't make much of an impact at all. Did not play a single game in the playoff there, not a single minute. I just think it was a little bit of an overpay for kind of a guy who is your 7/8 defenseman. The Rangers do not have a ton of draft picks right now, so giving up a 4th rounder for that kind of a depth defenseman maybe wasn't the best idea in the world, but it still was a okay move. I understand why the move was made there to add in a depth kind of guy, but going after him to give a 4th-round pick, maybe there was a cheaper option out there. Possibly that could have been a bit better if moved there, but re-signing him there as well, it does kind of make things a little better, but still not the best move in the world by Chris Drury in this Rangers front office. Next up here, we have Jack Roslovic, who was traded for by the Rangers from the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 2026 4th-round pick. I think overall, this was a pretty solid trade. Not a great one, but a pretty solid one. A lot of Rangers fans wanted that true kind of top 6 caliber forward, but Jack Roslovic was a decent kind of middle 6 caliber winger who ended up coming in here to play alongside Kreider and Zibanejad, and the Rangers picked him up for fairly cheap as well. Only a 4th-round pick in 2026 is not too much for a, low-tier kind of second-line guy, you could say, kind of high-tier third-line guy in Roslovic, who his overall play I don't think was the best, but he still put up some pretty good offensive numbers. Ended up having 8 points in the regular season in 19 games played, and also had 8 points in 16 games played in the playoffs. So the numbers offensively were not bad at all. I think his overall play wasn't great. It wasn't great defensively. Made a few extra turnovers than I would like to see, but in general there, the offensive production for a guy who you gave up a 4th-round pick in the future for is definitely not bad at all. I mean, half point per game in the playoffs there was quite nice. Didn't play the best overall, like I said there, but still was a decent kind of passenger on that line. He was not a guy to come in here and be a kind of line driver. Going alongside, for the most part there, guys like Kreider and Zibanejad, he was kind of a decent complimentary guy to them, but definitely did not make a huge impact, just kind of put up some decent numbers offensively, but didn't do a whole lot other than that. So for my grade, I would give this a B+. I think value-wise, it was a pretty good move there. A 4th-round pick for a guy who had a half point per game there in the playoffs, and nearly that in the regular season is not bad at all, but he still was not a crazy good player that didn't kind of come in here and really kind of change things a whole lot. So that's kind of why I gave this a B+. But it's still a good grade there, but definitely was not an elite trade there by any means. And the third trade the Rangers made around the NHL trade deadline was trading for Seattle Kraken center Alex Wennberg for a 2024 second-round pick as well as a 2025 fifth-round pick. Overall, I think this was, at the time, decent value for what he kind of brings there. I mean, a second-round pick and a fifth is not too bad at all. They retained a bit of money there, can help make this trade happen. And I think value-wise, it's not too bad. The 5th-round pick kind of pays for them retaining some money there. The 2nd-round pick kind of pays for the value of Alex Wenberg. So, when the trade happened, I thought it was a pretty good kind of value deal there. He was supposed to come in here and be a pretty good kind of two-way center there to play on that third line, kind of take the spot of Filipino there as he missed, quite a bit of time throughout this regular season there because of concussion issues. So came in here, played decent, didn't really have much offensive production at all. And that was kind of the big disappointing factor with him is, yes, I know he's not a great offensive guy, but he really did not do a whole lot at all offensively in the regular season as well as in the playoffs. For the Rangers, ended up having in the regular season there only 5 points in 19 games played, which is not too great. And in the playoffs there, had 2 points in 16 games played. That third line for the Rangers did not have much scoring at all. They got outscored by quite a bit there from the fourth line even. So the offensive production of Wenberg there was not great at all. And even the defensive play, which he was supposed to come in here and be that kind of two-way shot down the centerman on that third line there, taking the spot of Filipino. And he did not quite do that. He played fine defensively, but did not play great and definitely was not quite worth a 2nd and a 5th round pick in my opinion, which is kind of why I would give this grade a C+ for this trade. And my overall thoughts, post-playoff run and all that stuff there, I think the Ruido deal and Wenberg deal ended up being a bit of an overpay. Not by a whole lot for Ruido there. I think it probably, value-wise, after seeing what happened there, him not playing a whole lot, maybe it should have been more like a 5th-round pick. But since it is a 2027 fourth, that's kind of why it has to be, that 4th rounder there, because it is so far in the future. And also it is a kind of division rival there in the Penguins there, who obviously we had the trade with. So that kind of makes sense there, but still a little more than I would like to see him pay for a 7/8 defenseman. Then for Alex Wenberg, though, post, playoff run and all that kind of stuff there, it was a pretty massive overpay there. Honestly, he kind of played like a kind of 5th round pick in value, you could say, honestly. Maybe it's a little harsh there, but I still just don't think he played that good at all there. I mean, he seems like a fine player for the most part, but did not have much of an impact on this Rangers team. Kind of held down that spot there, played solid, but 2 points during the playoffs is just not acceptable. That is not good enough for a guy who may not be a guy who's supposed to come in here and be that great offensive threat, but 2 points there is just not good enough. He did not play great, and even defensively was just not that true kind of shutdown guy that we kind of hoped and thought he could possibly be for this Rangers team. But anyways, in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on all three of these trades, the Wennberg, Roslovic, and Ruido deal. Let me know your thoughts. And also, remember, Ruido's coming back as well, so that does kind of make things a little better for this team. Don't forget to comment down below your thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.